So we have Sylvain from Algolia. So let's talk.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Sylvain. I'm the first employee of Algolia. And today I'm gonna tell the story of a French company, a small French company, that after 2 years and a half is now based in two locations, Paris and San Francisco, doing a business in more than 100 countries in the world. And I will try to explain you how we expand hiring, but also our culture abroad. So if you don't know Algolia, Algolia is basically a hosted search API. Basically, we're providing an API that allows any developer to power the search on his website or mobile application. That means if you are an e-commerce website, a media website, anything where you need to have a search bar to search into some content that you have on your app, we are providing the technology that allows you to do that. It looks like something like that, basically an as you type and real-time search experience. As you type, we will retrieve the most relevant results, allowing you to build a lot of search experiences, be it like a full results page like that, or just a suggestion drop-down menu. And today we are processing like billions of operations every day. We have just crossed the 1,100 customers. And as I said, we are available everywhere because we have actually 14 regions around the world hosting that data and allowing you to build the Amazon or Google-like experience in your own application. But that's today, and we didn't start like that. Before I joined, it was a company built and founded by two of my former colleagues. We were all three working at Exalead before, a French search engine as well. It's now part of Dassault System. And we all have an engineering background. And at that time, Algolia wasn't like a search as a service company. They were focusing on building a small SDK that, and the goal was to embed that SDK into mobile phones to provide a search engine offline. So it was a very specific business targeting mobile devices. And what they started to do at that time was trying to build a culture-first company. And the first book they asked me to read before joining, even before joining, is that Freedom Inc. book. I don't know if you read it already, but I really recommend it. It's basically a book that explained how if you give enough freedom to your employees, you will actually benefit from a lot more of their imagination and productivity. On mobile devices, the business was not that great. It's pretty difficult to find the right business model to build a company out of a small mobile SDK. So we moved to a SaaS company, and at that time, we directly understood that our business will be global. So with customers all around the world, because we will be an API, and an API, obviously in 2015, it's easier to sell to a lot of people around the world than a small SDK. We started the team, and I joined a few months earlier. We started the business online in September 2013. And at that time, we were a team of 4. We had the chance to participate to the Y Combinator. And after that 3 months of acceleration in the Silicon Valley, so we moved all the team there, we asked ourselves, okay, we are a startup. We want to be the next billion company startup. We are really ambitious. We should maybe move to the US. But during those 3 months of acceleration, and it's probably the case in a lot of accelerators or incubators, they teach us to really focus on the product. So we worked very closely, all four together. Actually, we were 6 with 2 interns as well. But all 6 of us, we work like day after day in a very close environment together to really focus on a very single thing that was the product. They teach you to not try to find funds, to not listen to VCs, to not look for business angel, just focus on your product. And after a few months focusing that much on a single product in a small house, basically, it was really hard for us to say, okay, do we want to split the team to put an office in the US and some of us will go back to France? Should we keep everyone in the US? Should we move back, all of us in France? That was really a tough decision. But at the end, because there is also family involved there, we decided to move back to France and to not split the team. One of the key decisions behind that was also that working in San Francisco with Paris, it's like 9 hours of time zone difference. And definitely it's not very efficient to collaborate. And we were so used to have those daily chats that working only 2, 3, 4 hours per day together was just not an option. A few months later, we had that great opportunity to hire our first non-French employee. It was really actually very opportunistic. The guy was like in Finland and was following a French girlfriend in Paris and was just looking for a job. He sent me an email, I remember, telling me, okay, I want to join Paris and it seems that you are the coolest startup in Paris right now. Do you want a DevOps? At that time, we were still installing server like with small script, doing it manually. And oh, maybe we need a DevOps. It's still early, we don't have a lot of server, but we want to grow, maybe we want that guy. And actually the interview process went very well. And our CTO, I wasn't really used to hire DevOps. So after the first interview, I wasn't really sure. I asked our CTO to have a chat with him. And after 2 hours of interview, he made him the contract. I was like, whoa, are you sure it's the first guy that we interview? He said, yes, that's the one. I know exactly what we need, and that's definitely the one. And actually, it's one of our best moves. The guy is like incredible. But from that day, we started to speak English in the office because he wasn't speaking at all French. And since we were still thinking about being in the US very soon, speaking English in the office makes a lot of sense. And we continue to grow. A few months later, we were a team of 15. We just hired a second non-French employee in Paris. We had at that time a bigger office, so with a big open space. And one issue that we directly had is, in a big open space, you obviously have coworkers that are closer than others. And when you have a French coworker next to you and one in the front and one next to on the right, on the left, you may think, okay, I can speak French. They're French, they're just next to me. And we started doing that, like local chats were like in French because we were just French. And that's not working. Basically, you are just showing non-French speaking people that you are having a discussion and they don't understand anything. And that's really not something that we wanted to do. We want everyone to be involved and everyone to provide feedbacks as much as possible. So thanks to their feedbacks and their warnings as well, because they just say, okay, guys, let me know if I need to learn French, but that's not what you told me a few months before. So we remember every employee that, okay, stop French. If you are in a room, one-to-one, it's okay. Otherwise, it's English. 2 months later, we were 18 at that time. and we just raised our Series A. That was maybe the ideal moment to move part of the team in the US. First, because our CEO has a wife and 3 children, so summertime was like perfect occasion to move. Second, because we were still convinced that one of our place should be the US. 50 to 60% of our customers are from the US. Even if the business is global and the revenues are coming from everywhere, US is still a big place for us. The issue is that building a team when you are a French company in the US is tough. We didn't have a lot of contact on there, so we first hired 2 French people, and basically because the network was so small, the hiring network was so small, and because the team in the US was mainly composed by French people, when we interviewed American guys, American people, it was always very weird. They were like, okay, do I join a French company? Is it a US company? And definitely we saw that sometimes joining a company without native US American people was definitely, I don't know, not good enough. Or we had the chance to hire a nice girl from Homejoy that closed a few months ago, which tackled the people and operation there, and she helped us bring more native people. And since that time, we had a recruiter and a marketing person, and it seems to be better now. As soon as an employee and a new candidate is coming into the office, I don't know, it's really difficult to explain, but it seems that if he feels or she feels more comfortable. So if I can give you an advice on that, if you plan to build an office somewhere, hire local people as soon as possible. About remote, it's super interesting to have the feedback of Buffer, but we partially came back actually. At the total beginning, and Buffer was definitely one of our companies that we wanted to follow. We wanted to have that full remote policy, like you can work from everywhere. But after a few months, we discovered that, okay, our product is still complex, and we are selling it as to developers, to engineers. It's not really it's not a B2C product. It requires support. It requires interaction with customers and engineers. And the learning curve actually to be able to contribute efficiently to the product, be it the core search engine, but also the website and also analytics, logs, collecting, everything, was like impossible to master without being like locally with the people. So what we say today is we are okay for remote working, and a lot of people are doing that once or twice a week. But before being like full remote, we want you to come in the office and like to understand how we are working. One interesting thing at Algolia is that we are not really hiring employees that work for their boss from 9 to 5. We're trying to hire like mini CEO that really feel and acts as someone that owns the company. What we are building is a team of people that owns the Algolia company. It's our company, and we want all of us to bring that company from A to B, and obviously B being very high. And that ownership culture, it's not about being very autonomous and working alone and taking decisions. It's more about being able to collect feedbacks to ensure that everything is going smoothly on one or another project. And that was something very difficult to learn if you are not like locally with the team. I think it's a bit like buffer during the interview process. We are not really looking for resume. We have people coming from a lot of different schools and a lot of different experience. What we like to do is make them show what they did. So if you are a developer, put as many things as you can on GitHub. If you are a designer, obviously put everything on Dribble. Ensure that your Twitter account is like active. Ensure that your LinkedIn profile is like complete. That's something we want to see before even talking to you. The first thing I do when I got an application is, okay, what is his GitHub account? What is his Dribble account? Then we go over a Skype interview. And during that Skype interview, it's more about social talk. It's just to ensure that the guy understands what we do, and we understand what he wants to do, and we want to see if there is a match just in terms of ambitions. Then we go over a few interview processes. It's between 1 and 3 interviews, depending on the position. Every interview is like an hour, something like that, so it's far from the 20 minutes of save. And then if those interviews were okay, we make the guy or the girl come one day in the office, and during that day, in the morning, we will try to make him or her meet with everyone, especially the ones that have not talked to him or her on Skype. And it's the same. It's not anymore about technical or hard skills. It's more about soft skill and ability to chat with him or her. In the afternoon, we ask the candidate to build a presentation. Anything, any subject, whatever he wants, whatever she wants. The goal is more to explain us something he or she is proud of and understand how the candidate presents that to a team. At the end of the day, if we have one no-go, okay, first we try to understand why, but if one no-go is valid, we go for no-go. It doesn't help to grow very fast, and hiring is definitely a huge challenge at Algolia. I would not use the word issue, I would say just challenge. Because the people that we are trying to hire need to have all those qualities, all those capabilities, all those skills, and that's very tough. Once the candidate has been hired, what we try to do is, during the first week, meet again with every single employee, and during those meetings, it's more about understanding what the guy at Algolia is doing, just to make sure that the next time the candidate or new hire has a question about something, he knows who to refer to. We are also doing sales calls, shadowing. We think it's very important to be able, whatever your position, to pitch the product. It may be simple, but actually it's a very complex job. Even if you understand what we're doing, yes, we are a search engine, but okay, how do you explain to someone that is not a tech what is a search engine? How do you explain how we are distributed? How do you explain why we are better than others? And last but not least, we are asking the new hires to work on kind of onboarding project. And the goal of that project, whatever the subject, it's to ensure that after 2 or 3 weeks, he can share with the team, okay guys, this is what I've done. And it's about having the wow effect, or the, okay, that's the guy, we need him, because I like what he has done. And it's all about getting feedbacks, collecting feedbacks, and ensuring that he will be better month after month. But to grow the team both in SF and Paris, It's very challenging, and because the team is now 34 people, 28 in Paris and 6 only in the US, we ask every new hire in the US to come in Paris for at least 3 weeks, just to ensure that he gets all the core values of Algolia from maybe the I don't know how to say that, the first origin of Algolia, because in France most of the earlier employees are working there. And it's really to ensure that our culture and our spirit is like in his head when he will go back to the US. Since then, we have acquired a corporate apartment, both in the US and in Paris, and we ask every employee to do back and forth. If you are just an engineer, we ask you to go at least once or twice a year. If you have more a customer-facing position, it could be 4 or 5 times a year. And same on the other side. That's something that is also really nice in terms of team building, because in that corporate apartment there is actually 5 beds and only 2 bathrooms. And it's actually nice to spend just 1 or 2 weeks with colleagues and see them like in another situation than just day-to-day work. And that's it. Do you have any question? Yes.
Having recently hired more American employees and growing the San Francisco office, have you seen any changes or enhanced ability in maybe the approach to business from an American perspective, or possibly cultural differences?
Yeah, culture differences is definitely something tough as well. I would love to have replied before when it was before on stage. Basically, we have seen a huge difference between people in their day-to-day relationship, like from east of Europe and the US, for instance. It's really different. Same for like Italy and Finland. The culture in the country is really different. The way you give feedback, and because we have that ownership culture where we want everyone to get feedbacks, collect feedbacks, try to summarize that, it seems that just getting feedback and giving feedback to someone is really different. Like in the US, you always stay very positive, and that's very nice. In France, in Eastern Europe, that's something you don't do that much. It's not because it's not because you are an asshole. It's just because, okay, you are not used to say positive, negative, positive, like sandwich feedback. That being said, yes, it seems that you have a lot of I don't know if it's like more ease, but American people are very good at sales, at marketing. We want that. And for instance, a big part of the team in the US will be about sales and marketing. On the other side, hiring engineers in Paris is cheaper. They can do support because we are all doing support. We don't have a support team, and being able to do support in the morning with Sydney and in the afternoon with San Francisco is like priceless. And also, hiring in Europe, you may have more loyal employees. In the US, people can leave after 2 weeks. The market is so insane. The salaries are so insane that, okay, people are leaving a lot. So, yeah.
Sorry, how many employees in total did you said you have in Paris and the US?
So we are 34 right now, 34. 28 in Paris, 6 in the US. We were 8 in January. We plan to be something like 40, 50 by the end of the year.
So So from 50 to 100 employees, do you plan on sticking with the same scaling strategy, or do you foresee that you'll be changing that? Because I think what you're doing right now is really good and very thorough, and the employees really get to experience the company culture. But do you see that as being scalable long term?
Honestly, it's hard to say because I didn't do it before. And scaling the culture of ownership, that culture of being able to get feedbacks, provide feedbacks, take decision when you need to, it's something that we will need to work hard to scale to 100 people. Right now, we don't have any management. We don't want to do micromanagement, middle management, and so on. We are trusting the employees that we are hiring. And the goal is to make sure that that scales. It doesn't mean that we don't have leaders. Like every project that we are doing, we are putting one leader out of all the people that wants to build that project. He is not really a manager in the sense that he will not say people what to do, but at least it will ensure that everything is going smoothly and that the deadlines are respected. But it can be anyone.
So about having two offices, one in Paris and one in New York, what was the main focus for going to San Francisco? Sorry, what was the main focus to go there? Was it for the funding? Was it for the highway of revenue, or both of them?
It was a bit of everything. Indeed, when you raise money with a Silicon Valley-based VC, they generally want you to move to the valley. That was one small reason. The biggest reason is definitely that our customers are there. Just they are there. And you want to be able to meet them, especially if they are big. So yeah, that's basically the two main reasons.
Side question: in the United States, your customer relationship, I mean, also marketing people are French or mainly American?
So in the US, 6 people, 3 are French.
But they are managing or they are facing customers?
So we are a tech company selling a tech product to tech people. But what we hire today is all about being customer facing. So every employee, as I said, is doing support, meaning that we are answering to live chat, emails, but also that we are doing Skype calls with our customers or going to drink coffee or just at their place. So everyone in the company is like customer facing. Obviously, you have some customer success or sales people that are more customer facing than several engineers, but still, and no specific. I mean, currently, mostly all the CSC customer success. No, not all of them. But 3 out of 4 are French, and in the sales team, 50-50.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much.